You've probably heard for years that sugar is the enemy. It causes diabetes, obesity, and heart disease, right? But what if I told you there's another carbohydrate that's far more dangerous, and most people eat it every single day without even realizing it? And no, it's not sugar. Not even close. This one spikes your blood sugar faster than sugar ever could. It feeds inflammation, messes with your gut, clogs your arteries, and fuels diseases like fatty liver and type 2 diabetes. It hides inside foods you'd never suspect, labeled as zero sugar or gluten-free. Sounds crazy? Wait until you hear what it actually is. It's starch, but not the kind your grandmother used to make in her kitchen. We're talking about industrial starch, the refined, chemically altered, lab-processed version used by food manufacturers everywhere. Modified food starch, cornstarch, maltodextrin. Those innocent-sounding ingredients are the real villains in today's food system. They don't just add bulk or texture, they fundamentally change how your body handles carbs, and not in a good way. Now, let's break down what starch actually is. Picture a long chain made of sugar molecules all linked together. Normally, in nature, like in a potato or a vegetable, those bonds are strong. Your body takes its time breaking them apart. You get a gradual release of glucose, and that's manageable. But when you take that starch, strip it down, bleach it, grind it into fine powder, and modify it in a lab, you destroy that natural structure. The result? A supercarb that breaks down almost instantly in your digestive tract, flooding your bloodstream with sugar before your body even knows what hit it. That's why maltodextrin and modified starches have a glycemic index higher than pure glucose. You heard that right, higher than sugar itself. These things cause blood sugar spikes so fast they make candy look innocent, and those spikes come with consequences. Insulin resistance, visceral fat around your organs, liver fat buildup, and eventually metabolic diseases that take years off your life. But it doesn't stop there. Industrial starches do more than raise your blood sugar. They also wreck your gut. See, your digestive system is home to trillions of microbes, good and bad. Healthy carbs like those from veggies or whole grains feed your good bacteria. But industrial starches, they feed the pathogens, the bad guys. Over time, that throws your gut microbiome completely out of balance. You get bloating, inflammation, poor immunity, and even brain fog. Now, here's where it gets even more alarming. The process of making these starches involves some seriously nasty chemicals. One of them is sodium tripolyphosphate, a compound linked to kidney stress and hardening of the arteries. Another is vinyl acetate, which scientists consider a possible human carcinogen. Then there's sodium hypochlorite. Yes, that's bleach. It's regulated as a carcinogen in drinking water, but somehow it's allowed in modified food starch. Overexposure has been connected to kidney issues and enamel damage, and because all these substances are categorized as GRAS, or generally recognized as safe, companies don't have to test them for long-term effects. Safe, huh? Let's pause for a second. Think about this. The average American consumes anywhere from 65 to 250 pounds of this stuff every single year. That's tens of billions of pounds produced annually. It's cheap, around 20 cents per pound, because it's subsidized. In other words, your tax dollars literally help make the junk that's harming your health. And where does it hide? Everywhere. Baby formulas, gluten-free foods, protein powders, cereals, breads, crackers, soups, hot dogs, even foods that claim to be organic often contain modified starches. You might look at a nutrition label and see 0 grams sugar, and think it's safe. But that label doesn't list starch directly. It's invisible unless you read the ingredients. You might see modified cornstarch or wheat starch. That's your clue. Those are the industrial form. Now let's talk about what happens when you mix starch with something else that's just as dangerous. Seed oils. You know the ones: canola, soybean, sunflower, corn oil. These ultra-processed oils are already inflammatory, but when you combine them with starch under high heat, like in chips, crackers, or fries, you create a toxic chemical reaction that damages your cells. It's not just unhealthy, it's destructive. Chips, for example, are about 65% starch and 30% oil. Crackers like Cheez-Its, around 70% starch, 25% seed oils. Breakfast cereals, up to 80% starch, often topped with sugar. Bread, about 75% starch, 15% oil. French fries, 80% starch, 15% oil. You see the pattern. Our entire food system is built on this toxic combination. And here's the kicker. For decades, we've been told to cut sugar, so people switched to low sugar, low fat, gluten-free, or whole grain products, without realizing that most of those replacements are loaded with refined starches and seed oils. They might say no added sugar, but they hit your body even harder. Let's get real for a moment. The human body was never designed to process this much industrial starch. It's not food. Food, by definition, should sustain life and help repair tissues. These lab-made starches don't do that. They don't nourish your cells, they don't help you heal. They just fill space and create chaos in your metabolism. Think about kids growing up on this stuff. Studies show that 65% of the calories American children consume come from ultra-processed foods, and more than 55 pounds of that every year are industrial starches. For teens, it jumps to 70%, or over 100 pounds of starch annually. Even adults get about 55% of their calories from ultra-processed foods. That's roughly 67 pounds of starch a year, per person. Multiply that by 330 million Americans, and you start to see how enormous this problem really is. Let's be clear, starch itself isn't evil. Natural starches, like the ones found in sweet potatoes, oats, or cooked rice, can be part of a healthy diet. They come with fiber, minerals, and enzymes that help slow digestion and balance blood sugar. The problem is when food companies strip all that away, bleach it, and modify it to be cheaper, whiter, and longer lasting on a shelf. What you're left with isn't food, it's a synthetic filler that tricks your body into chaos. And it's not just your blood sugar or gut at risk. The chemical breakdown products of these starches include aldehydes, the same compounds used to preserve bodies in funeral homes, and acetaldehyde, the toxin that gives you a hangover after drinking alcohol. These substances can damage DNA, accelerate aging, and create oxidative stress throughout your body. And that's before we even add the inflammatory seed oils into the mix. Now here's something that's going to blow your mind. When scientists look at Alzheimer's plaques in the brain, they find residues of damaged proteins caused by advanced glycation end products, the same byproducts created when starches react with sugars and heat. In other words, the same process that makes your chips crunchy could be linked to what makes your memory fade over time. That's how deep this goes. So, what can you actually do about it? The first step is awareness. Start reading ingredient labels, really reading them. Don't just look at the nutrition facts. Go straight to the ingredients list. If you see words like modified food starch, cornstarch, maltodextrin, tapioca starch, or wheat starch, put it back on the shelf. Those are industrial fillers, not real food. Second, cook more at home. Real potatoes, vegetables, and grains in their natural form behave very differently in your body. When you cook them, the starch interacts with fiber and other compounds that slow down absorption. That's what keeps your blood sugar stable. Third, focus on whole, unprocessed foods that don't need a long ingredient list. Eggs, fish, meats, nuts, seeds, and vegetables. If your great-grandparents wouldn't recognize it as food, your body probably doesn't either. And if you really want to see how much industrial starch and seed oil you're consuming, there are even apps now that let you scan barcodes and see the breakdown instantly. Try it for a week. You'll be shocked at what you find in your pantry. Look, I'm not saying you can never touch starch again. Life's too short to stress about perfection. But understanding what's happening inside your body when you eat these foods, that's power. Once you know, you can make smarter choices. And when you cut back on these industrial carbs, the changes happen fast. Your energy stabilizes, your cravings drop, your digestion improves, you think clearer. You might even lose that stubborn belly fat without feeling deprived. And here's something worth remembering. Your body is incredibly resilient. Even if you've been eating this stuff for years, it can recover. Your liver can heal, your gut can rebalance, your cells can repair themselves. You just need to stop feeding them poison disguised as food. So, the next time you see zero sugar or gluten-free on a box, flip it over and read the fine print. Don't let the marketing fool you. The most dangerous carb in the world isn't sugar, it's industrial starch. And the good news? Once you know where it hides, you can easily avoid it. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe, because every week I break down the real science behind everyday foods, the truth no one tells you, without the hype or fear-mongering. Just real, useful info to help you take control of your health again. Remember, it's not about eating perfectly, it's about eating intentionally. Your body deserves real food, not industrial fillers. Start with that, and everything else gets easier.